Picture this. You step off the Heathrow Express into the heart of London. It's raining, of course it's raining, but somehow that makes it feel even more like the city you've been imagining your whole life. Red double-deckers, black cabs, the faint sound of someone playing violin in the tube station. You think this is it, this is actually London. And for about 45 minutes it is exactly that. Then you check your bank account. The cab from Heathrow just cost you £60, that's $75, for one ride from the airport, and the driver didn't even make eye contact. Welcome to London, the city that has been selling you a fantasy your entire life, through movies, through music, through every period drama you've ever watched, and has absolutely perfected the art of making that fantasy cost you more than you ever planned. But the money? That's just the beginning. What's actually waiting for you in this city, the stuff nobody posts, nobody films, nobody puts in the travel guide, that's what we're getting into right now. Here's the thing about London that makes it unlike almost any other city on earth. You already have a relationship with it. Before you ever set foot there, London is the most filmed city in history. More movies, more TV shows, more novels, more songs have been set here than anywhere else on the planet. Harry Potter, James Bond, Sherlock Holmes, Downton Abbey, Bridgerton, The Crown. For generations, the entire world has been fed a version of London that is extraordinary. Fog rolling over the Thames at dawn, cobblestone streets, red phone boxes, the sound of Big Ben marking the hour. And so when people arrive, they don't arrive as strangers. They arrive carrying 20-30 years of emotional investment in a place they've never actually been. That emotional investment? London has built an entire economy around it. And in 2026, that economy is more ruthlessly efficient than it has ever been. Because London is now officially one of the most expensive cities on earth for tourists. Not just expensive. Aggressively, relentlessly, almost architecturally expensive. And the gap between the city you imagined and the one that's about to empty your wallet is wider right now than it has ever been in modern history. Let's start with the scams, because London has them. And they are more organized, more sophisticated, and more specifically targeted at tourists than almost any city I've covered. Westminster Bridge. Right there in the shadow of the Houses of Parliament. In one of the most photographed spots in the entire world, there are gambling scammers running shell games. 3 cups, 1 ball. You watch, you think you've tracked it, you bet, you lose. Every time, without exception. It has been happening on that exact bridge for years. It will happen tomorrow. Then there are the fake police officers. Someone in a uniform, sometimes convincing, sometimes not, approaches you. There's been a crime nearby. They need to check your cash and eye it for counterfeit notes. And before you've had time to think clearly, your wallet is in someone else's hands. Real police in London will never ask to handle your money on the street, ever. A Moped pulls up alongside you while you're walking and looking at your phone. It's gone before you've processed what just happened. Nearly 200 phones are stolen every single day in the UK, and the majority happen right here in London. Oxford Street, Carnaby Street, Covent Garden. Anywhere crowds gather, that's where hands move fastest. And then there are the Soho bars. The ones with a person outside who offers you a good time and a great price. You go in. The drinks appear. The bill at the end is 5, 6, sometimes 10 times what you were quoted outside. And the people collecting that bill are not the kind of people you want to have a disagreement with. London's scam economy is invisible until the moment it isn't, and by then it's already too late. Now let's talk about the cost. Because this is where London quietly destroys more travel budgets than any scam ever could. A pint of beer in a central London pub, 6, 7, sometimes £8. That's $10 for a beer in a pub. The thing London is supposedly famous for being casual and affordable at. A sit-down meal for 2 at a mid-range restaurant, not fine dining, just a normal restaurant with drinks and the standard 12.5% service charge that appears on almost every bill automatically. You're looking at £120, £150 easily. The tube? The iconic London Underground that every travel video tells you is the best way to get around. A single journey in Zone 1 costs £2.80 at minimum, fine. But take 5 or 6 journeys a day across a week, which any active tourist will, and suddenly you're spending £60-70 just on transportation. And if you arrive by car or take an Uber into the center, there's the congestion charge zone. £8 to £9 just to drive into central London during the day. Tourists who don't know about it get charged automatically and sometimes fined on top. Hotel prices in central London in 2026 are at levels that genuinely shocked people who last visited 5 years ago. A basic 3-star room in Zone 1, not luxury, just clean and central, regularly runs £200 to £250 a night. London doesn't hide these costs. They're all there if you look carefully. But when you're booking a trip through filters and excitement, almost nobody looks carefully enough. Here's the London that doesn't make it into the travel content. Because behind the palaces and the museums and the perfectly preserved Georgian townhouses, this city is going through something that most tourists walk past every single day without fully registering what they're seeing. London has a housing crisis so severe that it has fundamentally reshaped who can afford to actually live in the city. Median rent for a one-bedroom flat in Zone 2, not Zone 1. Not Mayfair. Zone 2 is now over £2,000 a month. Teachers, nurses, the people who keep this city functioning, many of them cannot afford to live within an hour's commute of where they work. Rough sleeping people living on the streets is visible in a way that jars against everything the postcard version of London promises. Outside Waterloo Station, along the South Bank, tucked into the doorways of buildings that cost millions of pounds. The food bank network in London, the number of people who cannot afford to feed themselves in one of the richest cities on earth, has expanded every single year for the past decade. And the NHS, the National Health Service that Britain built as a point of national pride, is under a pressure in 2026 that feels genuinely historic. Waiting lists, staff shortages, a system that was designed to be a safety net stretched to its absolute limit. None of this is hidden. It's on every street corner if you know what you're looking at. It's just that it exists so close to the Tower of London and the afternoon tea and the changing of the guard that most people simply don't look. That is the city behind the postcard, the real one. The one that's been there the whole time. Okay, I've told you the expensive parts, the scam parts, the uncomfortable parts. Now let me tell you the thing that keeps pulling people back to London despite all of it. Because there is something about this city, something that exists completely independently of the cost and the chaos that is genuinely, stubbornly, almost irrationally brilliant. Start with this: the greatest museums on earth are free. The British Museum, the Natural History Museum, the Tate Modern, the Victoria and Albert, free. Walk in off the street, no ticket, no booking, just in. The kind of cultural access that in most cities would cost you $50 a visit, here costs you nothing. And then there are the parts of London that the travel industry has never fully figured out how to monetize, so they've stayed exactly as they are. Borough Market on a Saturday morning, not the tourist stalls at the front. The real market behind it, where London actually shops, where the cheese and the bread and the street food exist for people who live here, not for people visiting. The canal network. Miles of waterway threading through the city, narrow boats, towpaths, silence that shouldn't be possible in a city of 9 million people. Completely free, completely extraordinary. Shoreditch after dark, Peckham on a Sunday, Brixton Market, Dalston on a Friday night. The London that locals actually live in, that version has never needed a filter, and it still doesn't so. London. Should you go? Here's my honest answer. Go. But go knowing that the London being sold to you, the one in the movies, the one in the Instagram grid, the one in every British tourism campaign, is real. But so is the £60 cab from Heathrow, so is the automatic service charge on your restaurant bill. So is the guy on Westminster Bridge with 3 cups and a bowl. London in 2026 is a city that will give you some of the greatest cultural experiences available anywhere on earth and charge you more than almost any other city for the privilege of having them. The people are real. The history is real. The energy of a city that has been at the center of the world for 400 years, that is absolutely, undeniably real. But you need to go in with your eyes open, with a budget that has been stress tested, with the healthy skepticism toward anyone on Westminster Bridge who wants to show you a magic trick. And if you do, London will show you something that stays with you. Not the postcard, not the film set, the actual city. I'm TK, and this is The Hidden Route. Subscribe, because next time the city we're going to, it's going to be the one that changes everything.